and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kian and today's session is the big UC update for VOSS Solutions. I am delighted to be joined by Bill Durrant, VP of Product at VOSS. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Karen.
Before we explore VOSS's 2024, please tell us a little bit about yourself, Bill, and the work you do with VOSS.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And yeah, I'm Bill Delaire. As you mentioned, I lead the product charge here at VOSS, so responsible for our overall product suite, strategy, engaging with customers. And yeah, it's a great role to have. It's a great way to engage with customers, understand the business challenges out there, and apply our product suite to help solve those. So it's a fantastic time and very busy at the moment. So that's always good.
I can imagine as we draw to the close of 2023, I imagine it's a busy time for VOSS. But what have been some of your highlights of the year that was as it draws to a close? What were some of your favourite launches or moments from VOSS's 2023?
Yeah, no, it's really been a big year for us on the product capability side, and the team's been delivering some great capabilities to help us really target and solve a lot of customer challenges that popped up throughout the year. It's been interesting to see that kind of evolution as well of requirements and how they've come in. We've been at this for a long time, and we've seen a lot of historically technical requirements from kind of technical folks, and I think this has really changed to look more at business use cases and processes, and I think this kind of mirrors what we're seeing the evolving role of kind of collaboration and CX playing in many organizations. Where a lot more central to the business success, I think. But also that brings a lot more visibility at more of a managerial level, looking at costs, looking at utilization, things like that. So, and I think that mirrors kind of what we're seeing in the requirements, but also kind of what folks are investing in, what kind of problems they're trying to solve. And the great news is we're in a kind of good place to help with that and help with ROI. But a few interesting ones that we've seen this year in particular, and I think a lot of these will carry into 2024 as well, um, is a lot of the multi-vendor still out there. So, whether it's because there's a transitional period or a long-term product strategy that way, seeing that mix of vendors, but also even where organizations are embracing maybe a single base vendor for their collaboration, you still see a mix of auxiliary services or other tools being involved for devices, meeting rooms, PSTN, things like that. So, even where a single vendor, quote unquote, is being chosen, you still see a lot of that, kind of multi-vendor type of estate or different tools coming into the mix. And I think that's also reflecting in some of the increasing complexity that we see out there from those additional tools coming in, but also as the voice aspects of these cloud collaboration platforms mature, we're seeing a lot of new features being added, which brings with it more configuration, more things to manage, which again, it makes it a viable solution in a lot of cases for enterprises to actually make that move and consolidate, which is great. But of course, it does, bring with it the extra, baggage and mix. And so us being able to create interesting orchestrations, across those, bring all those into a single one-step workflow for organizations has been massive. And I think the other theme we're seeing a lot of is a lot of focus on cost. Again, as more of these tools get deployed, focusing on a lot of these costs, whether it's operational, licensing, return on investment that they make in these collaboration tools. That's another area that we've been doing some really interesting work with partners, and that's again mirrors that becoming more central to their overall strategy and ensuring that they can kind of manage those costs and see that ROI. So, I think that's some of the things we've seen. And like I said, I think a lot of those themes will continue and ultimately drive our roadmap in 2024 as well.
Oh, that's a perfect segue into just that question. And you touched a little bit on there with the multi-vendor
Yep.
solutions lightly, but can you please explore in a bit more detail what VOSS's product roadmap is looking like for 2024? What kind of solutions and features can customers and partners expect for the upcoming year?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, those themes will carry through. And one of those first areas we continually focus on is expanding our pane of glass, as we call it, right? We already work with a ton of vendors and services, but every year we can continue to expand that to pull in whether it's the latest players or services we've not looked at in the past. So that's a theme that we'll continue to see, bringing in things like recording, some additional CX capabilities, looking at infrastructure components like devices and SBCs. Again, a lot of that stuff we cover today, but just continuing to expand that to cover either other vendors or additional use cases we've maybe not looked at in the past. And I think that's really critical when you're looking at automation, but also in that transition phase. So being able to kind of understand where you're going from, or where you're coming from and where you're going, and being able to map that out, understand, what features you may or may not lose, and how to optimize your costs as you go through that process. So I think those are all areas from that single pane, just expanding it, having more of the data sets available to us coming in. And along with that, another key area is experience management. Again, this is something that we kind of kicked off in 2023, and automation again plays a key role here in driving that experience management. Making sure users are configured and deployed correctly in the first place, continue to manage that configuration over time, but heavily also on the monitoring and performance side, where we're looking at what are all the components that define that user experience, whether it be the network, internet service, if they're working at home remotely, being able to kind of understand, measure, and visualize all those elements that make up that user experience, again, are key to ensuring it's a great experience and where you may need to solve problems. And so we're exploring more ways, building on what we did this year to look at additional ways to deploy agents, providing deeper analysis of the data, but also looking at, with the automation piece, how we can automatically resolve, some of those cases. So if we, see a particular experience challenge, how can we, route around it or solve that challenge without, technical resources even needing to get involved to solve that problem. And so that ultimately helps, identify potential issues quickly, but also greatly, reducing the mean time to repair and ensuring that experience is as high as possible. Um, the other one is meeting rooms that we're seeing. Again, something that we kicked off in 2023, but we'll build on. And again, this is again, I think, coming higher and higher up folks' radar in terms of understanding their investment in that. This whole idea, we're still seeing a lot of remote working. It's clearly here to stay, that and hybrid. Although of course everyone's debating what that right mix should be. But at the end of the day, I think organizations are trying to make the office more of a magnet to get folks to come back in, and that includes investing in collaboration spaces and things like this. So, but they're not cheap, right? So ensuring that if you are investing, you're seeing that ROI, you're seeing the utilization, you're seeing the value from that investment. And I think those are the kinds of questions we're starting to see more of. How do we manage those spaces effectively, make the experience as great as possible, but also understand on the back end of that how you're getting the kind of benefits and ROI of those investments. So that's, again, a key thing that we're seeing. But also with that starts to touch on the real estate planning. And so being able to tap into building management systems and look at electrical usage and usage patterns of the building itself, where people are, again, correlated helps, even the real estate planners know when office consolidation might be a good idea, or proactively plan when they need space. So those are all things that we're kind of seeing, and areas that we'll be investing in the new year.
Perfect. Well, that's very comprehensive. Thanks, Bill. I'm sure the customers of VOSS can't wait for they just want to power through Christmas and New Year and experience all
Absolutely.
these features for themselves.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
I think that's all we've got time for today, but I've really enjoyed this session, so thank you, Bill, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And yeah, it's always good to reflect on, how the year's gone and what's coming up, especially this time of year. So yeah, looking forward to 2024. It'll be exciting times.
Absolutely. And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of UC Today. Thanks for watching.